Hi, I'm Luke Lango. Now when the timer on your screen hits 0, I'm going to open this briefcase to reveal what could be the key to Apple's next potential trillion-dollar product. It's known by the code name Project Titan, and it could give investors the chance to cash in on what Bloomberg is calling a projected $46 trillion opportunity. Now in a moment, I'm going to open this briefcase to show you what I predict Apple is planning. Because this project is so far left field for Apple, you won't even believe me otherwise. Now I want you to see for yourself the next breakthrough product from the very company that pioneered the smartphone, the tablet, and the personal computer. Because it could be 10 times bigger than all of those things combined. And to top it all off, I'm going to show you how you could 40 times your money over time with a company I anticipate could become a backdoor supplier play on one of Apple's biggest projects to date. Now everyone knows that Apple is extremely secretive with their new projects, especially when it comes to their suppliers. But using my team of elite analysts, we've been able to put together the breadcrumbs, clues hidden in plain sight, to predict the critical piece of technology we believe they need to make Project Titan possible. Now, I believe they could partner with one little-known $5 firm to supply that tech. After putting my team to work for over 7 months, we're prepared to reveal our predictions about Project Titan and the small company we think they could work with to make it all happen. Now, I'm going to cover all the details about this company because I'm convinced that anyone who invests in them today could have a chance to make even bigger gains than if they invested in Apple before the iPhone. In fact, just like the iPhone, I think Apple's newest device is going to affect every aspect of our daily lives, and it'll change the way we see Apple as a company forever. Now, I'd like to take you down the rabbit hole that led me to this shocking discovery, and it all starts with one man, the late, great Steve Jobs himself. You know, it isn't an exaggeration to say that Steve Jobs completely changed our world. He was a genius and a visionary. And his ideas are what laid the foundation of what is now the most valuable brand in the world, Apple Incorporated. Innovative products like the iMac, iPad, and iPhone have completely transformed our lives in ways we didn't even know we wanted. Yet today, we can't imagine living without them. That was the kind of impact Steve Jobs had on the world. When he passed away in 2011, the world lost one of the most unique and brilliant minds of the 21st century. And Apple lost their North Star, signaling the end of one of the most innovative eras of Apple. Maybe you've noticed it too. You know, nowadays, all Apple seems to do is play it safe. I mean, can you remember the last time they came out with something revolutionary or game-changing? It seems like all they do now is upgrade the iPhone a little bit each year and call it a day. That's not the Apple Steve Jobs envisioned, folks. But while they may seem to be running out of ideas, I want to let you in on something that might surprise you. Because before Steve Jobs died, he actually left behind one more radical idea for Apple. In a series of meetings with one of the top executives at Apple at the time, the co-creator of the iPod, he laid the foundations of a concept that could fundamentally change the world. Just like the iMac, the iPod, and the iPhone did so many years ago. An idea so big and so novel that it has the potential to overshadow everything Apple has ever done until now. Now, experts say Apple has already spent at least $1 billion developing this secret project, and they're just getting started. In fact, one Bloomberg article suggests they're willing to nearly quadruple their investment on manufacturing partnerships alone. They've previously discussed deals with some of the biggest manufacturing companies on the planet, filed over 100 cutting-edge patents, and have dedicated approximately 5,000 employees to this project, all in preparation to unveil their biggest, most revolutionary project yet. Forbes says Project Titan is Apple's next big thing. CNBC reports that Project Titan could make Apple a game changer, and Barron says Wall Street is obsessed with Project Titan. Project Titan could be the key to unlocking Apple's new frontier, and the timing couldn't be any better. You see, while the iPhone at one point generated as much as 60% of Apple's revenue, the fact of the matter is that nowadays there isn't much more room for the iPhone to grow. Everyone who wants and can buy a smartphone already has one. The US alone is at 85% smartphone ownership. New customers are getting harder and harder to come by every day, and essentially the $500 billion smartphone market, well, it's peaked. According to Business Insider, it's in decline, and nothing is coming to save it. Tech news outlet The Verge reports that Apple is already feeling the sting of plateauing smartphones. And some studies even show that iPhone loyalty is waning, with more and more users deciding to jump ship to other brands. So, if Apple wants to remain at the forefront of the tech world, and if they want to continue growing as a company, they need to venture into other markets, or they risk becoming just another Nokia, BlackBerry, or Palm. Now, right now, I can only think of one emerging market that could give Apple the opportunity to remain the top dog in Silicon Valley. A projected $46 trillion megatrend whose downstream effects, Bloomberg says, could rip through the whole economy. One that Barron says has the power to rule the world, and a technological revolution so massive, President Biden proclaimed that this is the future and we can't sit by. In fact, after taking office, President Biden took swift and decisive steps to make sure America doesn't fall behind, signing Executive Order 14037 to bolster American leadership in this emerging industry, and proposing a plan to dedicate $174 billion in government spending to promote America's urgent adoption of this cutting-edge tech. Without a doubt, from within Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and governments across the globe, the experts all agree this new projected $46 trillion megatrend is about to go ballistic on a global scale. And Apple is perfectly positioned to exploit it. They're aiming to become the #1 player in this newly emerging market, a market that Bloomberg is predicting could surge by as much as 19,254% within the next 2 decades alone. New millionaires could be minted thanks to it. And those who act on my recommendation today could have the opportunity to make 40 times their money with one single stock over the next few years. The explosive market that I'm referring to is none other than the global electric vehicle industry. That's right. Apple's going to make a car. And while I know it sounds crazy, what I have inside this briefcase might change your mind. Now, I'll show you in just a moment. Just remember that people thought the iPhone, iPad, and MacBook were crazy too. Now, they're considered to be some of the best consumer electronics available in the market today. And let me assure you, the auto industry is the perfect playing field for Apple to work their Midas touch. Not only is it an industry that Forbes says is ripe for disruption, it's also an industry with a long runway for growth. Now that's important because a lot of people, well, they feel like they've missed out on the EV boom. Stocks like Tesla, NIO, and Workhorse have soared tenfold or more over the years. Now I should know because I actually recommended all three of them before they blew up, but I'll come back to that in a minute. My point is, everywhere you look, It's Elon Musk. I mean, if you go by the media hype alone, you'd think that half the cars sold in America are electric vehicles, but they're not. Not even close. By the math, right now, EVs account for just 4% of global car sales. But experts predict that over half of all Americans will own an EV by 2030. That means we're still on the ground floor of this projected $46 trillion mega boom. You still have time to get in early on what could easily be the wealth opportunity of the decade. And the best part, the biggest gains haven't been made yet. In a moment, I'll detail how to position yourself in this massive boom with a potential backdoor Apple play I predict could 40 times your money over time. Which is understandable considering that governments are looking to inject billions of dollars into the industry in the name of green energy. It's one of the many reasons that now is the perfect time for Apple to tackle this market and lay the foundations for their success. What they're doing with Project Titan will be unlike anything you've ever seen or heard of before. This is Apple's biggest project yet. And it's going to completely transform Apple and the way we think of cars forever. According to Barron's, an Apple car could disrupt the auto industry as much as the iPhone upended tech. Now, the Wall Street Journal says Project Titan could help bring about the end of the car as we know it. Tech writer Johnny Evans, who's been watching Apple closely since 1999, says that Apple car will be as disruptive to transport as combustion. Renowned Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo thinks the Apple car will be their next star product, and Yahoo says an Apple car would take the tech giant to the next level. The consensus is clear. Project Titan is going to be a game changer for Apple and the world. Years in the future, we're going to reminisce about how Apple used to be just a smartphone company. And without a doubt, those who own Apple stock right now could stand to see substantial gains in the very near future. Former hedge fund manager and Mad Money host Jim Cramer is on record saying that the upside could be enormous. Now, one JP Morgan analyst believes that Apple car profits will quickly dwarf the billions of dollars Apple is planning to invest into the project. And according to an article by Business Insider, Apple's market cap has already grown by $102 billion just from the rumors of an Apple car release. But here's the thing. That's just the beginning of this captivating story. Because what very few people know, and even fewer people understand, is this. There could be an even bigger opportunity flying under Wall Street's radar. I'm talking about a potential backdoor play for a shot at massive 40 times gains that won't come from simply owning Apple's stock. Instead, these explosive gains could come from investing directly into the company I believe could become one of Apple's primary partners in the new global gold rush. And that's why, in just a moment, I'm going to unveil the details of a little-known tech firm that could be inking a massive deal with Apple very soon. One that could give early investors the opportunity to 40 times their money over time, but you have to act before this deal could become official. Otherwise, you'll be left with the scraps. Now, I'm going to reveal the details of this company shortly, but first, let me address something you're probably wondering right now. How in the world do I know all of this? I mean, how do I know about this virtually unknown company that could soon land a major partnership deal with one of the biggest companies on the planet? Again, my name is Luke Lango, and I was a #1 ranked stock picker in 2020, according to TipRanks. I beat out over 15,000 financial analysts, including some heavy hitters on Wall Street, to claim that title. Now, a lot of people ask how I overtook some of the biggest names in the financial world. My secret? I'm a venture capitalist with a Rolodex of contacts across Silicon Valley. I started and funded several businesses, many in my spare time as a student at Caltech, the world's #1 technology university. I started a popular social media company alongside the legendary angel investor Bill Gross. Also, an equity research group aimed at linking new tech upstarts with big-name seed investors, and a sports data analytics business I co-founded with the former GM of a Major League Baseball team. My point is, as a venture capitalist, I'm plugged in to virtually all the deals going on in the startup world, and that's how I found out about a little online education company called Chegg. Now, Chegg is a digital education platform that helps college students save up to 90% on their textbooks. I'm friends with the guy who sold his startup to them. We went to Caltech together. I recommended buying shares back when they were trading for just $4 a piece. Now today, their stock has surged as high as $115, giving anyone who followed my recommendation back then a chance at 2,554% gains. That's enough to turn $5,000 into $132,700. So, if you ever heard of a tiny company called Neo, as I mentioned earlier, the EV revolution is taking over the world. When I saw what my Silicon Valley contacts at Tesla and Waymo, Google's autonomous vehicle program, were saying about Neo, I immediately knew this company was going to be big. They kept talking about how Neo would become the next Tesla and how their tech could one day rival the EV darling. So, I said to buy Neo when it was trading for just $1.94. And since then, they've reached share prices as high as $66.99. That's a 3,353% peak gain in 3 years, enough to turn a modest $5,000 investment into $172,650. Then there's Advanced Micro Devices, better known by its name AMD. After leveraging my connections with Caltech researchers, I discovered that AMD was on the verge of launching a new series of CPUs and GPUs that would slingshot them to the top of their industry. So, I recommended AMD as it was trading around $1.96 a share. And since then, it's reached as high as $122, delivering whopping 6,149% gains for anyone who's held on since then. And with those kinds of returns, you'd be able to turn a $5,000 investment into $312,450. Now, these are just a few of the big winners I've been able to uncover throughout my career, and of course, everyone has some losses too. But during the course of my career, I've uncovered 14 early-stage opportunities that could have as much as 10 times your money or more, and many that have doubled and tripled in value. Sadly, most analysts today simply surf the web, run a few stock screeners, and call that research, but not me. If you want to consistently find new and explosive companies with the next big idea, if you want to be #1, you need a boots-on-the-ground perspective. You need to speak with the scientists, programmers, and engineers. You need to know the billion-dollar whales, the financiers, and the CEOs on a first-name basis. And that's how I know about the small, little-known company that I predict could ink a massive deal with Apple once Project Titan goes live. Because my contacts in Silicon Valley are currently buzzing with excitement about the key technology this company could supply Apple with. And if they do end up working with Apple, they could turn the global auto industry on its head. Now, let me make one thing clear. None of this is officially announced yet, and I have no information that isn't publicly available. This is just what I'm predicting based on the research my team and I have done over the past 7 months. I don't have a crystal ball, so I could be wrong, and no deal could ever happen. But that's why I urge you to look at everything I'm presenting today and judge for yourself. Apple is super secretive when it comes to their projects, even more so when it comes to their suppliers, but that's never stopped me from finding little-known opportunities that deliver windfall gains for early action takers. Now, before we go any further, I'd like to set something straight. Despite all of the groundbreaking technologies I've covered in the past, I believe that the Apple car could quite honestly be one of the biggest breakthroughs I've ever stumbled upon. Why? Because my research indicates the Apple car could be the most popular product ever sold. That's not hyperbole. Don't forget, this is Apple we're talking about here. You know, one of the most successful and biggest companies ever created. The company behind not one, but several of the best-selling products in history, the iMac, the iPad, and the iPhone. If Apple is going to make an EV, they're not just going to make another Tesla. Just like when they got into the mobile phone industry, they didn't just make another BlackBerry. No, Apple is going to completely change the game altogether and build what I predict could be the best-selling car in history. While most other EV makers are focusing on making EVs with the longest driving range, the best batteries, and the fastest recharging times, Apple is thinking 2 steps ahead. In their usual fashion, they're in the process of creating something that'll shock the world. Something that'll rattle our ideas of what a car could be forever. And that's why I'm so excited about what will likely be the greatest product launch in history. Like a rising tide, it's going to create a wave of explosive growth for all the companies involved in this incredible project. And that's one of the big secrets you have to understand if you want to play this opportunity in the best way possible, because understanding Apple's hidden profit pattern could change your financial destiny. You see, time and time again, history has shown instances where after a supplier partners with Apple, their stock goes supernova. Just look at contemporary AmpereX technology. Now, back in 2013, Apple needed a new battery supplier for their MacBook after letting go of Samsung. Contemporary AmpereX technology came in and took their spot. And since their IPO back in 2018, their stock is up as much as 929%. Or take a look at TSMC. In 2011, they started trial runs of their semiconductor chipsets for the iPad, and today, their stock has gone up as much as an incredible 1,149%. Finally, there's Skyworks Solutions. This company provided the power amplifier for the iPhone 3Gs back in 2009, and since then, their stock has skyrocketed as much as a whopping 4,299%. Every $500 invested into Skyworks Solutions back in 2009 could have easily turned into $21,995 over time. Now, of course, past performance does not guarantee future results, and you should never invest more money than you're willing to lose. Some companies simply won't do as well as these examples. But that being said, if you're able to pinpoint the company that could supply Apple's newest project, you wouldn't need to put very much in for the chance to make incredible gains. Even a small investment could go a long way. Just look at these other big Apple supplier winners. Jabil, a company that makes the encasements for the iPhone, has been working with Apple since 2009, back when its stock was trading for as low as $10.70. Now, thanks to Apple, their share price has soared as high as $72.11, which is an incredible gain of 573%. Or look at Cirrus Logic. Their stock was trading for as low as $2.45 back in 2008. Then in 2012, Apple partnered with them to create amplifiers of unmatched sound quality for their iPhones and various other product lines. And in the years since then, their stock has seen highs of $91.86, an amazing 3,649% gain since 2008. And then there's NXP Semiconductors. Their technology has been helping Apple with what's called contactless payment since at least 2010, when their shares were trading for around $14 a pop. Thanks to Apple, they're now going for over $170 each, and anyone who got in on them back in 2010 could have seen gains of up to 1,114%. As you can see, it is not rare for an Apple supplier to explode 10 times or more. That doesn't mean anything is guaranteed, of course. Some will not do this well as these historical examples, but right now, many of my Silicon Valley contacts are buzzing with excitement about the tiny tech firm that could play a pivotal role in turning the Apple car into a reality. Now, its stock is currently trading for around $5 a share, but I believe it could easily surge 40 times or more over the next few years, especially if a deal with Apple ends up happening. This is an opportunity you don't want to miss. You see, when Tim Cook finally takes a stage and goes public with Project Titan, he's going to unveil a product that'll be at the intersection of two massive megatrends taking over the world today. The first megatrend, as I've said earlier, is electric vehicles. And the second, artificial intelligence. Yep, you heard that right. Apple is not just making any old EV. Apple is aiming on building a fully functioning, autonomous Apple car. Now, that might seem unbelievable, the stuff of science fiction, but the fact of the matter is autonomous vehicles have already arrived. Consider this. In the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, athletes were being transported to and from competition venues using Toyota driverless cars. Meanwhile, Cruise, a General Motors-backed AV company, drove over 700,000 miles in 2020 and just recently opened up their robo-taxi service to the residents of San Francisco. Then there's Waymo, Google's very own AV company. Waymo's AVs drove a whopping 2.3 million miles back in 2021, and it's been transporting people around cities like Phoenix, Arizona, since 2018. In short, AVs aren't the future, they're the here and now. And there's no telling the kind of impact it'll have on our lives once the tech fully matures and is ready for mass adoption. I mean, just imagine. You want to take an overnight road trip, simply pack your bags, plug in the destination, and go to sleep as your AV takes care of the driving. A couple of hours later, wake up refreshed and ready to enjoy your weekend getaway. Don't want to deal with commuting and rush hour traffic or want to avoid the struggle of trying to find a parking spot in a crowded city? Let your car do all the work for you while you sit back, relax, and reclaim some time for yourself to use however you'd like. And let's not forget the approximately 1.26 million lives this tech could save every year. You know, every 24 seconds, another person dies from road traffic injuries. In fact, it's the leading cause of death among children aged 5 to 14 and among young adults aged 15 to 29. These are your sons, your daughters, your nieces, nephews, people's moms and dads, grandmas and grandpas, important friends and family that are losing their lives to 100% preventable accidents caused by human error and imperfection. But with AVs, it's going to no longer be the case because it'll take human error out of the equation and replace it with picture-perfect computer intelligence. Now, I can guarantee you that AI won't be drinking. AI won't be texting. AI won't be yelling at kids in the back seat while they're behind the wheel. 1.26 million more people each year could be able to make it home safely to their families thanks to this new tech. AVs are going to change our lives. No doubt about that. But now, you may be wondering, with companies like Tesla, Waymo, and NIO making strides in the EV and AV spaces, isn't Apple late to the game? Now, I've asked myself the same thing many times, but then I remember, Apple wasn't the first to make a computer. Apple wasn't the first to make a smartphone. And Apple wasn't the first to make a tablet. Yet that didn't stop Apple from turning the Mac, iPhone, and iPad into some of the most popular products in the world. Sure, Apple isn't always the first at bat, but that's their specialty, folks. They have an uncanny ability to stand on the shoulders of those who came before them and use that as a foundation to create products we never knew we wanted. That's why it doesn't matter what Tesla, Waymo, NIO, what they're already coming out with, their EVs and AVs. Being fashionably late is nothing new to Apple. And it won't stop the Apple car from potentially becoming one of the best-selling, if not the best-selling vehicle in the world. And I'm not only saying this because they're the king of innovation, design, and quality. As a company that's often considered one of the most valuable companies in the world, they actually have some overwhelming advantages over everyone else in the space. Now, for starters, Apple's fan base is a multi-billion-dollar ATM machine. They have some of the most rabid customers in the world. Whenever Apple comes out with a new product, their fans are ready to jump on it like hyenas. It doesn't matter what it is. If it comes from Apple, they'll buy it. For example, a recent piece from the New York Times reported that Apple's most back-ordered new product wasn't an iMac, an iPhone, or an iPad. It was a $19 cleaning cloth. Can you imagine how that group of folks would react to an Apple car? I expect they'd go ballistic. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw lines like these appearing outside of dealerships across America. Again, Apple has some of the craziest fans in the world. But what's even crazier is the sheer size of their numbers. It's reported that in 2021, Apple's number of overall active devices globally grew to 1.65 billion. That number is almost 1/4 of the global population, meaning about 1 out of every 4 people you see on the street could be an Apple customer. That's mind-boggling. If even just 1% of those active users buy an Apple car, that'd be 16.5 million vehicles sold. Taking the price of a Tesla Model 3 as reference, which is around $65,000 or so, that translates to just over $1 trillion in revenue generated. I mean, no wonder Morgan Stanley analyst Katie Huberty says the Apple car is the clearest path to doubling Apple's revenue and market cap. You know, this is a transition that could effectively double the size of Apple within the next 5 to 10 years. Now, for a company the size of Apple, a company that has been ranked the #1 biggest company in the world many times over, that'd be an extraordinary, almost unthinkable feat. But since it's Apple we're talking about here, I'd like to think they have a pretty good shot at achieving it. Now, you may be wondering, can Apple really make a car? Well, a few years ago, I might have not been able to answer the question confidently, but today, it's a resounding yes. You see, the car companies of the future won't be legacy automakers like Toyota, Volkswagen, or Daimler. They'll become relics of a different time, just like the horse carriage makers of the past. Instead, the future of cars will be paved by tech companies. And the EV market is simply accelerating this inevitable shift in the auto industry. I mean, just take a look at Tesla. They took over the car industry by storm. And at one point were ranked the most valuable car company in the world, but that's just the start because tech companies like Google, Amazon, and even Sony are all rushing into this projected $46 trillion megatrend with their own projects. So it really is no surprise that Apple is doing the same. Now, at the end of the day, cars are basically just smartphones on wheels, right? And former Apple senior VP Tony Fadell thinks the same. He used to chat with Steve Jobs about the potential of an Apple car as far back as 2008. And in an interview with Bloomberg, he explained that phones and cars were actually very similar, saying a car has batteries. It has a computer, it has a motor, and it has a mechanical structure. If you look at an iPhone, it has all the same things. It even has a motor in it. This is Apple's bread and butter, folks. And while the Washington Post might call the Tesla an iPhone on wheels, it won't be like that for long because once Apple releases the Apple car, they'll take back that title for themselves. I mean, who better to make an iPhone on wheels than Apple themselves? They've regularly been ranked as the #1 most valuable company on earth. They've remained the top dog in Silicon Valley with their innovative designs and ingenuity. And one of the major advantages they have that most people seem to forget about is that they have a lot of cash on hand to spend. No other tech company or legacy automaker for that matter, even comes close. With nearly $200 billion in the bank, Apple is so rich, it could buy General Motors 2 times over in cash. Most EV companies these days, as you probably know, struggle to scramble together $1 billion to launch a car, while Apple could spend $10 billion and that would still be less than a tenth of their quarterly revenue. In terms of spending on research and development, they've been considered part of the top 10 in the world, allowing them to build and invest in some of the most cutting-edge technologies out there. No wonder CNBC says Apple could be a game changer in this space. I mean, their extraordinarily large bundle of cash also lets them hire and attract some of the smartest and best talent in Silicon Valley, which Elon Musk thinks they've used to poach Tesla engineers with 60% salary increases and $250,000 signing bonuses. One Apple insider even leaked that Tesla employees were jumping ship to work at Apple, saying Apple's latest project is too exciting to pass up. And I think it will change the landscape and give Tesla a run for its money. You know, Apple is really pulling out all the stops to make Steve Jobs' last idea a reality. And Bloomberg's Mark Gurman says that Apple is going all in on a fully autonomous Apple car. They've filed over 100 groundbreaking tech patents, hired over 1,000 of the best experts and engineers in Silicon Valley, including auto industry veterans from the likes of BMW, Mercedes, and Tesla. It's been speculated that they've rented out multiple research facilities in Switzerland, Arizona, and Mountain View, California. And they've been testing their AVs on public roads since 2017. Now, recent news suggests that testing is only ramping up. Their fleet of AVs has already grown to over 60 test cars, and they've more than doubled their testing mileage in 2020. This all points to one thing. The Apple car is real, and it's coming. And it's going to be Steve Jobs' biggest idea ever, his last one more thing finally coming to fruition. I predict this is going to make Apple the biggest company in the world. Decades from now, we're going to be explaining to future generations that Apple used to be a smartphone company, and that'll completely blow their minds. Remember when Amazon used to be just an online bookstore, or when Netflix used to send movies on physical discs through mail? I mean, these companies are almost unrecognizable from their early days. And I believe that the Apple car will similarly transform Apple into something unlike anything anyone has ever seen before. Anyone who invests in Apple today is bound to see incredible returns in the near future, but here's the thing. I believe the biggest profits won't be made by betting on Apple. The company's simply too big to deliver truly incredible returns. Instead, I predict the biggest gains will come from investing in the one tiny $5 tech company that could help make the Apple car a reality. I believe this company could provide a key piece of tech the Apple car needs to become a truly autonomous vehicle. Because it's going to be what allows the autonomous Apple car to see, which is a pretty important feature if it's going to be driving you around town. Now, surprisingly, this tech is already being used in our iPhones. And two former Apple engineers actually left Apple to build this very company and start applying that technology to autonomous vehicles. Now, that's why I believe the Silicon Valley tech firm they started is a shoo-in to become a vital Apple car supplier. They've already got Apple DNA in their genes. And they have over 25 Apple alumni working for them. In fact, about 1 out of every 10 employees in this tech firm are Apple alumni. Now, just last year, they added a former Apple senior executive to their advisory board. Right now, let's be clear, they have no official affiliation with Apple. But I don't think it'd be surprising for Apple to have a bias towards partnering with a company filled and ran by Apple alumni who've already proven that they're able to work on the level of quality that Apple is known for. And that brings me to my next point. The AV tech that this company provides is top of the line. Its technological design is a world's first, and its capabilities go above and beyond the original legacy tech. They're a leader in the space, and no one else comes close. Too Simple, an autonomous trucking company, has already used this company's tech to build, on average, 35,000-pound semi-trucks that can drive down 65-mile-per-hour highways without a single human driver behind the wheel or even in the truck. Even crazier? NASA is using their tech to support the next generation of lunar and planetary exploration, playing a vital role in their goal to return humans to the moon for the first time in more than 50 years. Now, no other player in the space can say that. No other company has that kind of validation. So when Apple finally chooses a company to supply this crucial piece of AV tech, I predict it'll be this very company I'm recommending you should buy right now. Because when Apple makes something, they do it right. They do it big. Top of the line, best in class, nothing but. That's why, when it comes to the Apple car, they're not going to settle for second class. They're not going to settle for something that everyone else is using. They only want the best. They want to be number one. They want to stay top dog. And what could help them do that better than a company that already has Apple's very own DNA in its genes? This tiny firm's technology is truly rare and groundbreaking, and it'll be the key to unlocking the projected multi-trillion-dollar future of autonomous vehicles. The incredible thing is, you, right now, can tap into this revolutionary company for just $5. A complete steal, especially considering that my research shows this company has the potential to grow 40 times in the next few years. An incredible prediction for sure, but remember, that's nothing out of the ordinary for companies that score a deal with Apple. Contemporary Amperex technology, up as high as 929% since 2018. TSMC, up as high as 1,149% since 2011. Skyworks Solutions, up as high as 4,299% since 2009. Jabil, up as high as 573% since 2009. Cirrus Logic, up as high as 3,649% since 2008. NXP Semiconductors, up as high as 1,114% since 2010. Nothing here is guaranteed. But as you can see, it isn't rare for an Apple supplier to explode 10 times or more. But while these past returns have been breathtaking, honestly, they're nothing compared to what I believe Apple's newest supplier could deliver. The returns we could see from this new supplier could surpass anything else we've ever seen before. Because remember, the Apple car is Apple's most ambitious project yet. It's going to completely transform the way we think about cars altogether, and it's going to upend the auto industry that hasn't changed for over 100 years. Like what tech writer Johnny Evans says, the Apple car will be as disruptive to transport as combustion. Forbes says that it'll be Apple's next big thing, and the Wall Street Journal says Project Titan could help bring about the end of the car as we know it. This will be Apple's shot at expanding into a projected $46 trillion market. And the companies that partner with Apple to make it all possible stand to see enormous profits in the coming years. Now, right now, there's one under-the-radar company that I believe could provide the key technology Apple needs if it wants to succeed. And those who get in early on this company could see 40 times gains in the next few years, especially if a partnership deal goes public. But if you don't act now, you may completely miss the train on this opportunity. Because Bloomberg reports that Apple is already looking for someone to provide the very technology this tiny firm is working with, so a deal could be announced at any moment, and that brings me to this briefcase. This is something my team and I created. I call it the Project Titan Prospectus. how to cash in on Apple's next trillion-dollar product. Inside, you'll get to know everything you need to know to jump in on this potential backdoor Apple Car play as soon as you get it, including its name and ticker symbol. Plus vital information on why I believe the Apple Car and the AV industry as a whole can't succeed without the kind of tech they're developing. But here's the best part. This isn't just some one stock briefing. There are a lot of parts that go into making a car, and Apple is going to need multiple suppliers to help them build one. Which is why, in addition to this stock I've been hyping up for the past hour, you'll also get full details on 2 more stocks I predict could ink a deal with Apple as Project Titan moves forward. Remember, Project Titan is Apple's biggest project yet, and it'll be a rising tide that lifts all boats, at least the ones who Apple decides to partner with today. Now, you'll get my complete analysis on all these stocks inside this special report, and I'll show you exactly why I think these 3 stocks could go on to generate millions for early investors. But I'd like to take it even a step further, because the revolution happening in the transportation space is much bigger than any one company, even Apple. As a projected $46 trillion market, some experts predict that Apple will only capture around 5% or so of this rapidly developing space. Focusing only on Apple suppliers would mean missing out on a majority of the projected $46 trillion windfall Bloomberg predicts this industry will produce. That's why I'd also like to rush you the projected $46 trillion transportation revolution playbook. Inside, I'll give you the full details on 7 more explosive stocks my team and I have discovered that'll help you position yourself for max potential profits in this emerging megatrend. Now, right now, folks, EVs only account for about 4% of the total car market. But once this revolution takes off, experts predict over half of all Americans will own an EV by 2030. We're still on the ground floor of a lucrative megatrend. So now is the best time to jump in before it really takes off. If you've seen the 2022 Super Bowl, then you know that it was littered with car companies advertising their electric vehicles. It's only a matter of time until things really start to accelerate here, so don't wait. Now, you might be wondering, how much will it cost to grab these special reports? To be frank with you, some people will pay as much as $3,500 a year to access some of my other research services. However, you need not worry. You won't have to pay even a fraction of that to access these 2 special reports I have here today. In fact, I'd like to send both the Project Titan prospectus, how to cash in on Apple's next potential trillion-dollar product, and the projected $46 trillion transportation revolution playbook to you free with a special offer. All I ask is for you to test out a risk-free trial of my monthly research service, Innovation Investor. You see, the EV and AV industries are just 2 of the many emerging industries set to explode in this era of technological disruption. We're talking 5G, AI, cryptocurrencies, blockchain, the metaverse. The convergence of all these tech breakthroughs is creating a tsunami of wealth, unlike anything we've ever seen before. There are so many exciting ways to invest and grow your money that honestly, it can be a bit overwhelming. And that's one of the reasons why I started Innovation Investor. Because sitting on the sidelines in one of the greatest eras of wealth building in history would be a huge mistake, obviously. But I'd also hate for you to shoot your shot and get caught holding the bag on the wrong opportunity. With Innovation Investor, I hope to help you avoid all of that. Forget spending hours of research looking for your next investing idea. Stop getting confused about which opportunities are actually worth their salt, and finally get clarity on how to maximize your potential profits in this new era of investing. You'll have everything you need to learn how to intelligently invest in some of the hottest technological breakthroughs of tomorrow. Because as a subscriber of Innovation Investor, you'll be able to benefit from some of the very same research that helped me become the #1 stock picker in the world, according to TipRanks in 2020. Now, the very same work that has already helped me recommend over a dozen stocks that have seen gains as much as 1,000% over the course of my career, and multiple stocks that have seen 2 times, 3 times, even 5 times returns, stocks like Chegg, which could have given anyone who followed my recommendation a shot at 2,554% gains. Now, that's enough to turn $5,000 into $132,700. Or a stock like NEO, which has reached a peak gain of 3,353% since I first recommended it. Enough to turn a modest $5,000 investment into $172,650. Or AMD, which has delivered a whopping 6,149% gain for anyone who's held on since I recommended it. That's enough to turn a $5,000 investment into $312,450. Again, these are some of my best calls from across my entire career. Everyone has some losses too. For reference, the average gain since inception Innovation Investor is 5.5%. Now, to fact check any of our data, please visit our details and disclosures page. But when it comes to finding the best investing opportunities in the tech industry, it's about who you know as much as it's about what you know. And if you're looking for the chance to discover my next potential 10-bagger, an opportunity I believe could be my next huge pick, you'll have to join my subscribers inside Innovation Investor. Of course, I can't promise you'll see results exactly like these. Past performance does not equal future success, and I'd never recommend investing any amount you aren't willing to lose. All investing does carry risk after all. But that's why I'd like to invite you to take Innovation Investor for a spin. Because while you can't avoid risk when it comes to investing, you can make it a heck of a lot simpler by following in the footsteps of someone who's already succeeded before you. Someone who has the connections, the team, the track record, the insights to confidently point you in the right direction and show you how to intelligently grow your money in the years to come. So, here's how to claim your trial run of Innovation Investor. There should be a button below. Click on it and you'll be taken to a secure order form where you can fill out all your details. Now, once you finish claiming your risk-free trial, we'll rush you the Project Titan prospectus, how to cash in on Apple's next potential trillion-dollar product, and the projected $46 trillion transportation revolution playbook, containing a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 red-hot picks. Plus, the latest issue of Innovation Investor. You also get instant access to our private membership website, where you'll have 24/7 access to our archive of past issues and premium reports not mentioned in this presentation. From then on, you'll receive not just one, but 2 Innovation Investor research reports each month via email for the next 12 months, along with my daily updates covering stocks on my radar and urgent alerts for when there's big news. You'll even get instant access to my complete model portfolio, where you can track every recommendation I've made. I'll tell you exactly when I recommended to buy and when to sell and why, so that you're never confused on when to hold or take any potential profit. It really couldn't be any easier. And in the event you have any questions, my world-class customer service team based in Maryland will be available to you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Eastern Time. You'll never have to talk to a robot on the phone or try to navigate through a lengthy Q&A section on our website like you might with AT&T or Comcast. Just pick up the phone and send us an email, and you'll be in touch with a real human being in no time. Keep in mind, they can't offer any individual investing advice, of course, but they'll gladly help you with any questions about your subscription. Now, usually a subscription Innovation Investor retails for $199 a year. And as much as I'd love to give this research service away for free, you have to understand this isn't a one-man operation. You know, I have a fantastic team of analysts that supports me in providing you with the most profitable insights on the market. And this wouldn't be possible without them. I need to make sure they're paid their due and are able to support themselves and their families. However, here's what I can do. If you've listened this far, I know you're someone who's serious about learning how to make money in the market. Someone who's tired of all the chaos going on in the market today. Someone who wants to find real opportunities to invest in great businesses that'll help you intelligently grow your wealth without having to waste time and energy separating the substance from the noise. That's why, on this page only, you won't have to pay anywhere near the full retail price of $199 a year. Now, I'll go into detail about the special price in just a moment, but before I do, I have a confession to make. It kills me to know that I've only been able to drill down on Apple's Project Titan and the potential backdoor opportunity that could 40 times your money over time. Yes, it's big, it's exciting, and it's potentially extremely lucrative, but there are so many more major shifts going on in the world right now. I wish I could tell you about all of them. For example, there's one market phenomenon that's helping Americans strike it rich faster than ever before. Americans like 32-year-old Brandon S. Now, he's a video producer from Reading, Pennsylvania. He doesn't have a six-figure salary or any specialized knowledge of finance or investing yet. Thanks to a powerful market phenomenon, Brandon is $1 million richer. Or how about Bruce B., a civil engineer from Nevada? He used to clip coupons and rarely bought anything that wasn't on sale. But now, because of the same phenomenon that helped Brandon S., his wealth is greater than he ever planned for retirement. He says he helped his daughter buy a home and even purchased a Tesla for another family member. Or look at 53-year-old Mary R., another beneficiary of this phenomenon. She turned some spare cash in a leftover retirement account from a previous job into over 7 figures. She calls the money she made from this powerful force life-changing. Now, this is the same market phenomenon behind the incredible growth of Facebook, of Apple, of Google, and of Amazon. And as a special bonus for listening this far, I'd like to show you how to tap into this lucrative phenomenon today. So, in addition to the Project Titan prospectus, how to cash in on Apple's next potential $1 trillion product, and the projected $46 trillion transportation revolution playbook, you'll also receive immediate access to the quickening 4 tech stocks that could change society forever. Inside, you'll get the full details of this phenomenon and just how powerful it can be. Plus 4 stocks you can buy today to take advantage of its wealth accelerating power right now. I'll send you a copy via email as soon as you claim your risk-free trial of Innovation Investor. So, in summary, here's everything you're getting today. The Project Titan prospectus, how to cash in on Apple's next potential $1 trillion product. The projected $46 trillion transportation revolution playbook. The quickening, 4 tech stocks that could change society forever. The latest issue of Innovation Investor and all past issues, all past special reports, and any future ones we release. Daily notes about stocks on my radar, urgent alerts for when something big happens and we recommend to act fast, my model portfolio to see at a glance how all my recommendations are doing, and a world-class US-based customer service team. All human, no robots. Now, all of it is protected by my complete 365-day money-back guarantee. That means you'll get 1 full year of risk-free access to all my monthly issues, all my hand-picked recommendations, all my reports, and all my videos, as well as my private website. If at any time over the next 12 months you find that, hey, we're not a good fit, simply give my team and I a call, and I'll refund every penny of your subscription. Oh, and no need to send back the bonus reports. You can keep them. It's my way of saying, hey, thanks for giving Innovation Investor a shot. However, if I have pegged you right, you understand the value of playing the long game in the stock market. And I'm confident that this 12-month risk-free trial will show you the value of having a service like Innovation Investor to guide you along the way. So, how much is all of this really going to cost you? With my research service normally retailing for $199 a year, and with everything you're getting today, you might be thinking that this will cost you a fortune. But I'd like to completely slash those worries. Because today, you won't have to pay anywhere near that much. As a special offer available on this page only, you can grab a spot inside Innovation Investor with all the bonuses we mentioned earlier for an incredible discount. Just click the button below and you can see the full details on the next page. Again, this offer is available on this page only. If you click out of this page and try to join through our Investor Place website, you're going to get charged the full retail price of $199. So to tell you the truth, we lose money doing special offers like these, but I'm so confident in the quality of Innovation Investor that you'll want to stay with us for the long haul. All you have to do is click the button below to get started. Again, it comes complete with my 365-day money-back guarantee so that you can test out Innovation Investor with peace of mind. Now, I know we just went over a whole bunch of stuff, so let me summarize what's happening one final time. After over 7 months of research and putting my team to work, I predict Apple is going to kick off the projected $46 trillion transportation revolution with Project Titan. And I predict one tiny Silicon Valley firm is going to help Apple make it all possible. I think this little known tech company could become a key supplier for the Apple car. And if that happens, I predict it could send their stock skyrocketing for 40 times gains over the next few years. This could be like getting in early on previous Apple suppliers like Contemporary Amperex Technology, TSMC, or Skyworks Solutions, all companies that have seen gains as high as 573% or more since partnering with Apple. Now that's enough to turn a $5,000 investment into a $33,650 payday. $10,000 turns into $67,300, and $15K turns into $100,950. Right now, stock's trading for less than $5. But my research indicates it could explode 40 times within the next few years, especially if an Apple partnership is announced. So now is the best time to hop in. You can get the full details of this stock plus 2 other potential backdoor Apple Car plays inside the Project Titan prospectus, how to cash in on Apple's next potential $1 trillion product, which comes free with your risk-free trial membership to Innovation Investor. Click the button below to claim your spot inside today. Now, at this point, folks, what you choose to do next is obviously up to you. You could, 1, click off this page and ignore everything you've heard today. You could, 2, try and figure out everything on your own, spending hours of your time and energy piecing together the breadcrumbs. Or 3, you could join my team and I inside Innovation Investor, where we'll leverage our connections and resources to hand you the most cutting-edge opportunities of tomorrow, today. Ultimately, the choice is yours. Thanks for listening anyways. Just click the button below and you'll hear from me soon.